What if I told you that some animals can freeze solid and come back to life, that others migrate thousands of miles to avoid freezing to death? In the coldest and harshest environments on Earth, some species have developed mind-blowing adaptations to not only survive but thrive. Welcome to Infinitia Verity, where today we're exploring some of nature's ultimate survivors, the animals that can withstand freezing temperatures and beyond. Stay tuned to uncover the jaw-dropping abilities of these super survivors. Hello and welcome to Infinitia Verity, your channel for fascinating science, mind-blowing facts, and intriguing stories about the wonders of the natural world. If you're as curious as we are about how life manages to survive in extreme conditions, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell to never miss a future episode. Today's journey takes us into the frigid corners of the planet where we'll discover how different animals survive freezing temperatures. From freezing frogs to creatures that slow their heartbeats to almost nothing, you'll be amazed at the lengths to which nature will go to keep life alive in the ice. Let's dive in. Arctic tern, the ultimate migrant. The Arctic tern is not only resilient, it's a world champion traveler. This small bird migrates between the Arctic and Antarctic each year, completing a round trip of over 44,000 miles. Why? To avoid winter's cold grip by chasing eternal summer in both hemispheres. Interesting fact, Arctic terns experience more daylight than any other creature, spending their life in constant summer due to their extreme migratory pattern. Interesting fact, with an average lifespan of 30 years, some Arctic terns travel over 1.5 million miles in their lifetime, roughly equivalent to circling the globe 60 times. Their remarkable endurance is coupled with lightweight bodies and long wings that help conserve energy on long flights. Terns are also highly social and travel in large flocks, which gives them added protection from predators during migration. Their ability to instinctively navigate across entire hemispheres using the Earth's magnetic fields is one of the most amazing natural instincts known to science. Musk oxen, the insulated warrior. In the Arctic tundra, musk oxen roam the frozen landscape like woolly tanks. They're built for cold with 2 layers of fur, a thick, long outer coat and a softer, insulating undercoat known as kiviut, which is 8 times warmer than sheep's wool. Interesting fact. The musk ox's kiviut is one of the finest, softest, and warmest natural fibers on the planet, and it's shed in the spring, collected by indigenous communities for clothing. Interesting fact. These majestic creatures aren't just built for warmth, they're also formidable defenders. When threatened by wolves or other predators, musk oxen form a defensive circle, putting their heads outwards and shielding their young in the center. Musk oxen have wide hooves that prevent them from sinking into snow, and their thick necks are designed to plow through deep snow to graze on frozen tundra plants. Their social structures, similar to ancient defensive battle formations, make them virtually invulnerable to predator attacks when grouped together. Musk oxen have survived since the Ice Age, making them living fossils of a bygone frozen era. Polar bear, master of the Arctic ice. The polar bear is the ultimate predator of the frozen north. With up to 11 centimeters of insulating blubber and a dense layer of fur, these bears are made for surviving extreme cold. They spend much of their lives on sea ice, hunting seals, and swimming in freezing waters with ease. Interesting fact. Though their fur looks white, each hair is actually transparent and their skin underneath is black, helping them absorb heat from the sun's rays more efficiently. Interesting fact, polar bears can swim for days at a time, sometimes covering hundreds of miles in search of food. In fact, they hold the record for the longest continuous swim by any mammal, over 220 miles. In addition to their physical adaptations, polar bears have incredibly acute senses of smell. They can detect seals nearly a mile away and sniff out breathing holes in the ice, which are crucial to their hunting success. Their paws are also specially adapted with thick pads and small non-slip bumps called papillae, giving them traction on ice. As climate change reduces sea ice, polar bears are facing unprecedented challenges, making them a symbol of the fragile Arctic ecosystem. Imagine surviving an entire winter frozen solid, only to thaw out and hop away like nothing happened. The wood frog does exactly that. As temperatures drop, this amphibian turns into a frog sickle, allowing up to 70% of its body water to freeze. The wood frog produces high concentrations of glucose, which acts like an antifreeze, preventing its cells from being damaged by ice crystals. Despite being frozen for months, the frog's heart and brain don't suffer damage, making this animal a living example of suspended animation. Wood frogs hibernate beneath leaf litter or in shallow burrows where they are exposed to sub-zero temperatures. Their organs essentially stop functioning during the winter months, but come spring, they gradually thaw out and return to life. Scientists are studying the wood frog's cryogenic abilities in hopes of applying these findings to human medicine, particularly in areas like organ preservation and hypothermia treatment. In the depths of the Southern Ocean, the water temperature can drop to -2 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze most creatures, but not the Antarctic toothfish. These fish have evolved an extraordinary adaptation. Their blood contains antifreeze proteins that prevent it from freezing solid. These antifreeze proteins bind to ice crystals in the blood, stopping them from growing larger and causing fatal damage to the fish's tissues. Despite living in freezing waters, Antarctic fish are highly efficient predators, using their slow metabolism to conserve energy for bursts of speed when catching prey. These fish live in a near-freezing environment, but the antifreeze proteins allow them to maintain normal cellular functions. This adaptation has piqued the interest of scientists who are researching ways to apply these proteins to food preservation and even cryosurgery. The Antarctic toothfish in particular is a key part of the ecosystem, serving as prey for seals and penguins. Emperor penguins are famous for their group huddling behavior, which is essential for survival during the brutal Antarctic winter. These penguins huddle together in tightly packed groups, rotating positions so that each bird spends time in the warmer center. Emperor penguins can reduce heat loss by up to 50% through huddling, a behavior that is crucial for surviving temperatures that can plunge as low as -60 degrees Celsius. During the coldest months, male emperor penguins incubate their eggs on their feet, keeping them warm in a special pouch while they fast for up to 2 months. The rotation of emperor penguins within their huddle is so efficient that scientists compare it to the movement of particles in a fluid. Each penguin spends just enough time in the cold outer edge before slowly moving back toward the center. This coordinated movement keeps the entire colony warm enough to survive. Interestingly, emperor penguins can also dive to depths of over 500 meters, making them one of the deepest diving birds in the world despite their seemingly awkward body shape. The tardigrade, or water bear, is a microscopic creature known for its ability to survive the most extreme conditions imaginable. These tiny animals can endure being frozen, boiled, irradiated, and even sent into space. But when it comes to freezing temperatures, their ability to survive is nothing short of miraculous. Interesting fact, tardigrades can enter a state of cryptobiosis where they lose almost all water in their bodies and slow their metabolism to near zero levels, allowing them to survive freezing for years. Interesting fact, tardigrades have been revived after being frozen for decades, showcasing their incredible resilience to environmental extremes. In cryptobiosis, tardigrades curl into a tiny ball and effectively shut down all biological processes. This state allows them to survive freezing as well as extreme heat, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. Scientists are studying tardigrades for clues about how life might survive in extraterrestrial environments. These microscopic survivors offer insights into biological preservation and resilience that could one day benefit humanity in profound ways. When winter hits the southern United States, alligators enter a state of brumation, a form of hibernation. They slow their metabolism dramatically, conserving energy and surviving without food for months. But their most fascinating adaptation? They stick their noses above the ice to breathe while staying submerged in frozen water. Interesting fact. During brumation, alligators can slow their metabolism so much that they can survive for weeks without eating, essentially living off the fat reserves they've stored up in the warmer months. Interesting fact. Alligators can survive freezing waters by entering a state known as icing or snorkeling, where they leave just their nostrils above the waterline to breathe while the rest of their body remains submerged in ice. When temperatures drop too low, alligators adapt by slowing their heart rate to just a few beats per minute. which minimizes the amount of oxygen they need to survive. They become almost motionless, conserving energy while waiting for warmer weather. Even though they might appear frozen in place, alligators can quickly react when the ice melts, returning to their normal predatory behavior within hours. This remarkable ability to regulate their metabolism in cold conditions allows them to thrive in environments where other reptiles would perish. How do insects survive freezing temperatures without a thick fur coat or fat reserves? Enter the red flat-bark beetle. This tiny beetle has evolved an extraordinary adaptation. It can survive temperatures as low as -100 degrees Celsius by producing antifreeze proteins and undergoing a process called supercooling, where its bodily fluids remain liquid despite the freezing temperatures. Interesting fact: the red flat-bark beetle is able to survive in a near-frozen state for extended periods by producing cryoprotectants that prevent ice crystals from forming in its body tissues. Interesting fact: these beetles can also enter a state of diapause, where they pause all development, growth, and reproduction, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions for months or even years. The supercooling process allows the red flat-bark beetle to avoid freezing even when exposed to extreme cold. Unlike other animals that rely on insulation or migration, this beetle has perfected the art of internal temperature control. Its body produces proteins that prevent ice from forming inside its cells, protecting it from damage. This ability has made the red flat-bark beetle a subject of scientific research, as studying its biological antifreeze could lead to breakthroughs in preserving human organs for transplants. Snow leopards are built to survive in some of the harshest, coldest mountain environments in the world. Living in the high-altitude regions of Central Asia, these big cats are perfectly adapted to the frigid temperatures and rocky terrain. Their thick fur and long tails, which they wrap around themselves for warmth, make them resilient in freezing conditions. Interesting fact: snow leopards have been observed leaping up to 50 feet in a single bound, allowing them to navigate the steep rocky slopes of their mountainous habitats with ease. The snow leopard's tail is nearly as long as its body and is covered in dense fur, which it uses both for balance while climbing and as a scarf to keep warm when resting in the cold. Snow leopards are solitary, elusive predators that have evolved to live at elevations as high as 18,000 feet, where temperatures can drop to -40 degrees Celsius. Their large nasal passages warm the cold air before it enters their lungs, and their thick coats provide insulation against the bitter cold. Snow leopards are also incredibly efficient hunters, using their keen senses and powerful limbs to ambush prey like ibex and blue sheep. Sadly, these majestic cats are endangered due to habitat loss and poaching, but conservation efforts are ongoing to protect them. The Siberian salamander is one of the most remarkable cold survivors among amphibians. It can freeze solid during the harsh Siberian winter and come back to life in the spring. Its body produces cryoprotectants like glucose and glycerol, which prevent ice crystals from forming in its cells. Interesting fact 1. The Siberian salamander can survive being frozen at temperatures as low as -40 degrees Celsius for extended periods, thanks to its natural anti-freeze mechanisms. Interesting fact 2. In some cases, Siberian salamanders have been found to survive after being frozen for years, only to thaw out and resume normal activity when temperatures rise. Much like the wood frog, the Siberian salamander uses glucose and other chemicals to protect its organs from freezing. This allows the salamander to essentially shut down during the winter months, lying dormant until the spring thaw. Scientists are fascinated by how these amphibians can avoid cellular damage despite being completely frozen, and research into their abilities could lead to new advances in medical cryopreservation techniques. The wolverine, a powerful carnivore found in northern forests and tundras, is well suited for life in freezing temperatures. With its thick fur, strong jaws, and fierce determination, this animal is an adept scavenger and predator in some of the harshest environments on Earth. Interesting fact 1. Wolverines are known for their incredible strength and ferocity. They can take down animals much larger than themselves, including caribou and moose, especially when food is scarce in winter. Interesting fact 2. Wolverines have specially designed feet that act like snowshoes, allowing them to move quickly and easily through deep snow in pursuit of prey. The wolverine's fur is hydrophobic, meaning it repels water, which helps the animal stay dry and insulated in cold, snowy conditions. Wolverines are also capable of covering great distances, sometimes more than 15 miles in a single day in search of food. They are solitary animals, relying on their keen senses of smell and hearing to track down carrion or hunt live prey. Their remarkable endurance and resilience make them one of the ultimate winter survivors. You might not expect a cold-blooded reptile like the rattlesnake to survive freezing temperatures, but they've found a way. Rattlesnakes enter a state of brumation, like alligators during the winter months. They gather in communal dens, often with dozens or even hundreds of other snakes, to conserve heat and ride out the cold. Interesting fact 1. Rattlesnakes use a behavior called thermoregulation to control their body temperature, and they can sense slight changes in temperature that signal the arrival of winter, prompting them to seek shelter. Interesting fact 2. Some dens used by rattlesnakes for winter hibernation have been in continuous use for centuries, passed down through generations of snakes. Rattlesnakes find communal dens, often in rocky crevices or caves, where they can hibernate together for warmth. They remain in these dens for months, slowing their metabolism to the point where they don't need to eat until the spring. The rattlesnake's ability to detect temperature changes is so finely tuned that they can tell when to leave the den to bask in the sun during warmer days and when to retreat back into the safety of their hibernation chamber. From the ice-bound Antarctic fish to the hibernating rattlesnakes, nature never ceases to amaze us with its incredible ability to adapt and survive in the most extreme conditions. These creatures show us the resilience of life, with some species able to freeze solid while others migrate thousands of miles or hibernate for months at a time. If you enjoyed learning about these super survivors, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Infinitia Verity for more fascinating content about the wonders of the natural world. Which of these animal adaptations amazed you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more incredible stories of survival, science, and intrigue. See you in the next episode.